Los Angeles, where former TV anchor Don Lemon has now been arrested and is expected in federal court today. The DOJ is claiming the TV journalist was part of a protest that disrupted a church service in St. Paul, Minnesota earlier this month after reports that the pastor was an immigration and customs enforcement official. But Lemon says he was there covering the protest. Attorney General Pam Bondi posting this on X, saying, "At my direction early this morning, federal agents arrested Don Lemon, Traherne Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamil Lydell Lundy in connection with the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota." CBS News correspondent Ian Lee comes to us live from Minneapolis. He's been covering all of this morning. So, Ian, what more do we know about this arrest and how it happened?
Well, this arrest happened on Thursday. Federal agents went to arrest Don Lemon, and he is being charged with the FACE Act. Now, it's important to note this incident happened 2 weeks ago at City's Church in St. Paul. Don Lemon was in there when protesters disrupted this church service. Don Lemon was trying to interview people during that church service or during the disruption. An appellate court here in Minnesota declined to bring these charges against him. And so we heard that Pam Bondi, from her direction, she ordered that his arrest. And so this still seems like it's going to be an uphill battle for the federal government, with the fact that a court has already said that they weren't going to have these charges against him.
All right, so one of the charges has to do with the FACE Act. Ian, what is the FACE Act?
So the FACE Act has several components to it. The first component is to help people who want access to an abortion clinic or reproductive health, that no one can block their access. But if you keep reading down, there's another section to the FACE Act, and I'm going to read it to you. It's a bit of legal jargon, but just stay with me. It prohibits by force or threat or threat of force or by physical obstruction, intentional injuries, intimidates or interfere with or attempt to injure, intimidate or interfere with. So a lot of things there. Any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. And I think that's the key part there. This group of people, protesters, did, from when you look at the video, disrupt this church service. So will this be a violation of a FACE Act? And that is going to be for judges to decide. What's interesting also about it is this is really a conflict of the First Amendment. You have freedom of worship, freedom of the press, freedom to protest. And so judges are going to have to determine how does that all stack up. Now, I should point out that the FACE Act has been challenged in courts many times before, and it has been upheld. So that's something also to keep looking at. We also have the Committee to Protect Journalists. They came out with a statement. They said the arrest of journalist Don Lemon in connection with his reporting on a protest in Minnesota should alarm all Americans. Instead of prioritizing accountability and the killing of 2 American citizens, the real Donald Trump administration is devoting its resources to arresting journalists. This behavior has no place in the United States. So again, this will be up to the courts to decide if this FACE Act had been violated. But as we saw from a previous court ruling, it is an uphill battle.
Yeah, and Ian, I just wonder how you and other journalists, because obviously there's a ton of attention on what's happening in Minnesota today and in the past few weeks. How are you processing this moment as someone whose job it is to observe and record newsworthy moments?
Well, when you have situations like this, and I have been in plenty of them around the world. I have been arrested in Libya and Egypt and other countries while reporting as a journalist. And so, anytime journalists are detained by police or they are arrested or roughed up, it does send a message. The freedom of the press is in the First Amendment in our Constitution for a reason. But, that being said, a court did say that he hadn't violated the FACE Act, or at least they weren't going to bring these charges against him. So, the court system will go through this. And, it is a high bar because the First Amendment is such a protected, those rights are just so protected. We will have to see how the judges rule.
All right, greetings. Welcome to KNY7. Uh, there was breaking news just, well, some hours ago. I was late about it. I would have been on here. um, Former newscaster Don Lemon has been arrested by the feds. They already mentioned that they could detain him about a week ago, but we see that they went ahead and did it. I want to speak on him a bit. I call him Donna Lemon, so we're going to speak on Donna. He's loving this. He got fired, what, a couple years ago, a year or two ago? As soon as he got fired, he came on YouTube. As soon as he came on YouTube, I said it's going to be messy. Uh, all of your input is welcome here too. I'm not looking for people to agree or disagree. I'm just looking for open dialogue, and I offer that here. Feel free to chat. That's why there's a live stream. So I like to see what y'all think about what's going on. So I put a question in the chat, and it asks, for United States, we're not even united, for American, I should have put American, for Americans' freedom of speech, do you feel we're losing it, or are we just making sure it's maintained properly? Do you feel like freedom of speech is gone? You know what I'm saying? And it's being taken away, like as we speak. Is this an example of it? Or do y'all feel like people are just going far, and they're going too far with it, going outside of the boundaries of what freedom of speech really is? So this is backed from when they stormed a church in Minnesota, and it was extremely rude. They disrespected all parishioners there. I don't even understand why they did it like that. But the reason they say they want Don Lemon is because they feel like, hey, you're a big journalist. You're the one that helped orchestrate this. You're the reason they did this. And he's like, no, I was just there with the protesters. So I'm going to show what he had responded to it too. So it's very limited information right now. So anybody, a lot of people are all of a sudden jumping on it, and everything, but there isn't a whole lot of information other than when he comes back out. Also, Don Lemon has a channel on YouTube right now. They're actually live. And it's interesting because, again, he's already detained, but he made sure that he's live. They want to make sure, he wants to make sure that he's getting these numbers. I guess why not? Again, he's loving this. This is like what he lives for, this type of stuff. So let me share the tab because I want to show what I'm talking about too. Now, this man is detained, right? He's currently detained. But you see right here, he's live. He's not live, but his channel is live. When I went there, I seen some reporters from the Roland Martin Unfiltered show. Some other people were on there too. I'm not going to click on it because then that wouldn't be right. So the other thing too, which I'll show in a thumbnail, is that there's a whole anti-ICE national strike movement that has begun today. And this is kind of overshadowing it, I feel like, to his arrest. Like, it seems like that's the biggest thing. But the bigger thing could be these stores closing down. There's stores all over the America that are closing down because they are standing in solidarity against ICE. So I'm going to see if y'all started answering the poll, and I'm going to show some of that so we could be caught up on the news on this as well. The national strike that's going on. I know I didn't know about it. Maybe
That will play out right here in the Bay Area today.
Yeah, organizers are asking people across the country to skip work, school, even shopping as part of a growing pushback against ICE activity in communities. And hundreds of demonstrations are planned, including 2 here in the Tampa Bay area. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Asha Patel is live for us in Tampa this morning. And Asha, you have an update on what people plan to do today.
Yeah, good morning, Caitlin and Jamison. One is actually planned right here on Kennedy Boulevard, and it's expected to happen in a few hours at 11. Now, organizers say this movement sparked after 2 people were killed by federal agents in Minneapolis, and that caused a lot of anger and raised a lot of questions. So this strike is asking and urging people to skip work, school, and shopping to put pressure on lawmakers and federal agencies over immigration enforcement. The student groups and activists who organized this say ICE operations and state policies are impacting impacting families, workers, and students in their own neighborhoods. Locally, one protest is expected to begin around 11 a.m. in Tampa, with another one scheduled tonight for 6 p.m. in St. Pete at Veterans Memorial Park. Another day of protests is set for tomorrow, and organizers say more is expected to come in the coming months. Now, we will be monitoring these protests, and I want to also mention that law enforcement is aware about these protests happening, and they say that they are going to be monitoring those events. Reporting live in Tampa, Ash Patel, 10 Tampa Bay News.
So they were starting up early because you see it's still dark there. So they were up at the crack of dawn already. And I just realized that in real time with y'all right now, that they're telling people not to go to school. So is that including kids? So what they're saying is teachers, people that are supposed to be teaching, don't go to work. This isn't just small businesses and entrepreneurs that have their own business. You know, they may decide to close down. It may be private businesses. This is public. This is big. And I don't know about y'all, but I didn't hear nothing about it. And I be in the know. So this was surprising to me. This is more surprising to me a little than the Don Lemon situation, because we knew something was coming, you know, and he was all over the headlines, and he was like, yeah, I'm on the headlines. And he was Donna, girl, he was just so happy. And it was just like, okay, but this still isn't right. And my question is, okay, what are we going to do about it? What is this? What is this? Did he violate or not? So we'll find out for sure. I was told by someone too that Donna has 5 p.m. shows, something like that. So we're wondering if he'll be out before then, because if he does, then he's of course going to probably jump right on his YouTube channel and just get to flapping his, you know, just get to it, because everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, Donna, are you okay? Oh my God, Donna, girl, what they do to you, girl? Come on. Where your husband at though? I'm wondering how your hubby doing, Tim. How he doing? Yeah, same question I had for Ilhan when she got attacked, and then come to find out, y'all, it was apple cider vinegar. Remember we talked about that? Because we looked at it. Shout out to the people that are returning and are new. I'm Kyan Y7. Please consider to subscribe. Hit like, it helps. I put myself into my content. I'm not copyrighting enough. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not a echo chamber here. It's just different. I'm not going to say stuff that you might hear somewhere else. You're usually going to find something different coming from me. So just, if you could consider that, that would be good. Back Donna, girl, loving it. Let's get right into that too. I can't. I just can't believe. Oh man, you know what I have an issue with? Not everyone, but everyone's publicly like on Donna's side. You know what I'm saying? Now I believe in freedom of speech, but everyone's gonna run over there like, oh, Donna, you know, they shouldn't be doing this. Look what they're doing, America. You better pay attention. You could be next. How are we gonna be next? We're not storming into churches. See, there's some of us that may be religious or not, but we don't want to impede on your praise of your God or our God. See, some of us have different kind of morals. Some of us can step foot in a church and we don't have to worry about it burning down. Hello? That's what Nicki Minaj was trying to tell him when they was going back and forth. She was trying to tell him. I'm going to show what Hakeem Jeffries had on it. I know he's against it most likely, but then I want to show what Donna was saying when it first started up.
Gets back, and do you think that 2 weeks is enough time to negotiate the reforms that you're looking for? I know that there's a lot there, so you can.
We have to deal with the issue of reining ICE and the Department of Homeland Security in with the fierce urgency of now. And a 2-week window will evaluate whether that's sufficient time, but there's urgency to dealing with this issue. Because ICE, as we've seen, is out of control, and the American people know it. The American people know that the Trump administration on all of the things has gone too far, and that taxpayer dollars should not be used to brutalize the American people, and in some instances, kill them. So this is something that has to be addressed. And, you know, Democrats in the Senate, led by Chuck Schumer, supported by the House, made a clear demand. Separate out the 5 bills that clearly have bipartisan support. And then separately, we can deal with making sure that ICE is brought under control in a variety of different ways, including our demand, which we will not walk away from, which is that judicial warrants should be required before ICE can storm homes and rip people out of their cars. Judicial warrants. The masks have to come off. And body cameras need to be turned on for everyone. There should be an explicit prohibition on the detention and deportation of American citizens, period, full stop. And lawless agents who are brutalizing everyday Americans and law-abiding immigrant families, targeting them violently in violation of the law, should be investigated and prosecuted independently of the Department of Justice. We cannot trust the Department of Justice. They're an illegitimate organization right now under the leadership of Pam Bondi and the direction of Donald Trump. And so, if anything, the events of today reinforce, as it relates to the Department of Justice targeting journalists and part of the free and fair press, that the Department of Justice cannot be trusted to freely and fairly work through the criminal justice system. And it reinforces our demand that agents who violate the law should be investigated and prosecuted independent of the Department of Justice and the Trump administration.
I can actually agree with that. I never said that ICE should just do whatever they feel like doing. I would never say that about anyone. But people, I appreciate you coming through. It helps to hit the like button. It takes a quick second. Consider subscribing, and it's an open chat room, and I appreciate it. And thank you to my new subscribers. I appreciate you. Now, with ICE, let's remember how we got in this mess. Let's remember that the floodgates was open. Let's keep in mind that they were encouraged to come here. America didn't just break its own laws and say, well, you know, if you guys kind of want to come in and it's not legal, I mean, they said, come on in here. Come on in here. And they came in by the tens of thousands. That wasn't okay. We already had issues. So we got to remember how we got into this to begin with. And I speak somewhat on politics, but to be honest, I've been disappointed all the way around in some areas. But we had to have this happen. We can't go by our feelings. We have to abide by the law, right? And repair our country. We all have feelings, but if we let our feelings just control us, what we need laws for? People, what do we need laws for if we're going to go by how we feel? And how we feel depends on what group you're talking about. It depends on what racial group, what economic group. If we're really being honest. What is going on? Some just came. All right. So this is how it all started.
Minneapolis Church during Sunday service, according to his attorney and Attorney General Pamela Bondi. Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he was covering the Grammy Awards. Lemon's attorney, Abby Lowell, said in a statement shared with multiple reporters. He was one of 4 people arrested by federal agents early Friday in connection with the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, Bondi later confirmed in a statement. Lemon, who had been documenting the increasingly violent protests following the shooting of Renee Nicole Good, live-streamed himself alongside demonstrators with the Racial Justice Network storming into the city's church in St. Paul, Minnesota, as they called out resident pastor David Eastwood, whom they accused of moonlighting as the acting field office director for ICE in the North Star State.
Now, add a little context to that. As you just heard, the pastor of that church there were leaked data that showed who ICE agents are and all of that and their information. There was a huge data breach with that. Now, the pastor of this church is being said to be a part of ICE. So they felt that they were going to target this church. So this is how this all started. And you could just imagine if you're in a church, supposed to be one of the most peaceful places. Please don't come in here cursing. We use our big people words. You understand? You can speak your piece, but we ain't going to be up in here cursing like we don't have no sense. So y'all need to, you need to cut that out. Everybody else, I appreciate y'all because everybody has feelings. I'm not going to have too much feelings in this. It raises your stress level, people. I want us to be healthy. My channel is not going to be here to make you feel worse or make you feel bad about something. I'm here to just show the truth. And I want to share the conversation with y'all. We can't let what other people are doing to themselves affect us. I'm not going to have that much feeling in it where I got to throw F-bombs or where I got to go take it out on somebody. Like, nah, I'm going to chill. I'm going to laugh. Honestly, you can find humor in everything. All right. Now, Donna has wanted this moment for a long time. Donna is damaged goods. Donna got fired over a year ago. Donna been wanting the spotlight. So Donna brought his sassy ass on YouTube and was messy from day one. First, he started off making eggs and bragging about how good he makes eggs and yelling to his husband, Tim, come look. They like my eggs. I told you guys I make good eggs. Oh my gosh, look. And he just wanted you to chill with him in the kitchen. So anybody that was watching know what I'm talking about. I say he's a messy bee though. He's going to keep getting himself in things just so his channel can get attention, but you're going to get the attention because you stepping on toes. You've been messy as heck and he don't care how he flows with it. As long as he shows he's a Democrat. That's whack. If you come on here and you're a Republican, you got to act like you agree with all the Republicans. That's whack. As human beings, there's no way we totally agree with anyone on this planet. We may agree here and there. We all have our own minds. I just encourage y'all to use it. Don't let other people paint no narrative for you. This is a diva that's been in the making for years. Okay? This diva don't care about us. Stop playing. You care about Tim. And guess what? Tim Ben stopped caring about you, in my opinion. That so-called husband of yours, Donna girl, he been tired of your ass. I can see it on the live streams. I only had to watch a couple. You always trying to get him to come on camera. Tim, come here. Oh my gosh, come here. Where's the dogs? What are you talking about? He tired of you. You got to know when a spouse is tired of you, y'all. I'm telling you, watch. He probably glad you detained for a little while so he could get a break. You about the messiest, sassy person on here. Yeah, you got your time right now, but it's going to be some time served in some kind of way. Watch. It's not going to be worth it, Donna. What you did was tacky and it was wrong. You don't do that in a church somewhere. But should he be blamed for everything? No, I don't think Donna got it in him to organize something like that. Donna don't want to be in church. You feel me? A lot of people of the alphabet community, the last place they want to be is where, y'all? Where they have to face the truth through religion. Stop playing with me. That's the last place his sassy ass would have been. But he chose to come in there because he wanted to be anti-ICE against a pastor of a church who they never said did anybody wrong.
Some service disruptors chanted slogans heard at the dozens of other protests that have wreaked havoc around Minneapolis, while others specifically slandered Eastwood for supposedly misrepresenting the ideals of his faith through his support for ICE. Lemon spoke with the congregation's lead pastor, Jonathan Parnell, who said the bombardment was shameful.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
The Department of Justice announced.
He said it right there. See, you had the mic at the right mouth at that time. See, he's not going to just agree with what y'all doing. He's not going to be intimidated by you guys bombarding the church. He said, this is wrong. This is wrong. Donna, you got horns. Donna girl. Somebody in the chat said, Donna, I like it. So wrong. So wrong. Trump did a speech earlier. Well, he did a chat at the White House today. I was wondering if he was going to at least touch on Donna Lemon a little bit. That didn't sound right. Touch on him. But he didn't, of course. I was like, dang, he probably ain't going to speak on that. Or not right now anyway, huh? Let me, or I'll just do a little bit more. Then I had, there was something else I wanted to show. It might have had to do with the national strike. We'll see. We'll get right to that.
A probe into the demonstration at the church for potential violations of civil rights laws, specifically for interfering with Christian worshipers, according to a post on X. Harmeet Dillon, the Justice Department's Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, chided Lemon on social media. A house of worship is not a public forum for your protests. It is a space protected from exactly such acts by federal, criminal, and civil laws. Nor does the First Amendment protect your pseudo-journalism of disrupting a prayer service. You are on notice, she wrote. In a follow-up post, she noted that the FBI had been activated and accused the protesters of desecrating a house of worship. Lemon had dismissed calls for him to be prosecuted for joining in with the group and defended his actions as protected under the First Amendment. The MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true, Lemon said, claiming he had no affiliations with the organization, defending his actions as, quote, an act of journalism.
So that's where we stand divided. You know, was it an act of terrorism, causing terror to peaceful parishioners in a church? Or is he to be the journalist that he is? I guess he went to school. He has a long career in journalism. Is he being boots on the ground journalist, stomping his way through the church? I wonder where did him and hubby get married at? I'm just curious about it. I'm curious about it. Where is hold on, I know I had something else too, but that has nothing to do with the ICE strike. I'm gonna get some more of that, and then I was gonna go into it. The ICE protest strike, which I showed. I'm gonna show them getting home.
Tomorrow could look like. Christian.
Colleen and Michael, that's right. It's a very difficult situation for a lot of businesses here because, as you mentioned, that protest is calling for no school, no work. And if you're a business owner, they're asking those owners to close their doors for that day. Now, this is a big ask for small communities like this one here in Paris. Check this out. We're in downtown Paris, where you can see that there's some traffic here at this hour. And this is really what some of these business owners are looking for, that foot traffic, those cars to pass by and give them some business, because a lot of these small shops, they see they're really struggling because families are too scared to walk down the street because of the federal enforcement. Inside this Paris shop, we found a handful of customers on what is supposed to be a busy weekday, according to the owner. It's very slow because of what's going on. Vidal Mejia has been selling leather goods in Riverside County for decades. But he says with the immigration enforcement happening across the country, it's shifting how people go about their lives. Things have changed and people don't want to go out because they're scared. On Friday, millions are expected to join an anti-ICE protest and the second national strike against the Trump administration's immigration actions.
To not consume, to not to work, these types of actions are escalated measures that we need to take so the entire nation knows that the contributions of immigrants and how we as a nation, we're standing together for our most vulnerable community.
Nonprofit leader.
I'm gonna let them finish, but I got a problem with that. You saw I removed myself from the stream for a minute and I jumped back in because I got a problem with that. There's nothing anti-immigration. They are anti-illegal immigration. That's the law in America. So now, do you want everyone to close their stores, or is it particularly the immigrants? Because there's millions of businesses that are run by Hispanics, millions. way more than black people, and black people are the majority of the population. So please don't start getting into immigration and race, because black people are still at the bottom in a lot of ways, even with that. So when you say that you're going to stay in solidarity with immigration by closing things down, no, you're just shorting yourself on funds. That's all. To target a place like Target and ban and stop money from coming in, that affects the business, right? Now you're voluntarily shutting your doors down when I'm trying to see the benefit that the store owner would have. If anything, you're cutting yourself short, and you're using feelings to make people feel like, oh, they should go ahead and break laws and they should shut down shop. I don't know how someone can agree with that. You're not making sense.
Like Luz Gallegos with the Turek Legal Center says the community's mental health and fear is at a critical level because immigration enforcement activity is becoming a daily occurrence in many neighborhoods.
History has taught us that staying silent is not an option. When injustices happen, we have to elevate the realities and of our most vulnerable populations right now with everything that is happening.
In downtown Paris, many shops are already taking a stand on the issue with signs like this one protesting ICE. Others say not going to work or closing their doors for a day is a luxury they can't afford. This will impact the employees and the customers. People are scared to go outside, and that is causing our sales to drop. And as we come back out here live, some businesses here in the downtown area told us they won't be closing because they need the money to keep their doors open. Now, organizers behind tomorrow's protest say there are a number of ways that people can participate. They say you can either donate or volunteer with some of your local community groups. They say the goal here, again, is to not stay silent. We are live in Paris.
So there, that is, like I was just mentioning, they're gonna, it's like you're suffering in other ways of not being able to have your business patronized, basically, is what I was trying to say. If I could just type, that would be nice. Okay. Oh my God. Now, they just mentioned too that they've been having issues with people not wanting to come outside. Why wouldn't people want to come outside? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you in illegal? If you have an illegal status, maybe all of a sudden you don't want to come outside. I don't know, but it's not making sense. What do you mean people don't want to come outside? I'm telling you, they're painting narratives to scare everyone. They're adding scare tactics so you don't want to come outside. Who don't want to come outside? We all good. The people that are here and they know they're not supposed to, we're supposed to feel some kind of way because now they're scared to come outside. What is y'all talking about? Donna, girl. I just saw this online. Cute. Homeland Security or so. All right, anyway. Yeah. Don Lemon's gonna be popular. Yeah, this what he wanted. This what she wanted, girl. This what she definitely was wanting. So she got it. I wanted to find a video though where Donna had got interviewed like the same day or the day after or so the church incident, and they were like, "Wow, you're all on the headlines, and we just keep seeing you and this and that and this and that." And it's like, yeah, okay, that's what he wants. Here's a quick glimpse at his channel currently. I'm not going to show the live stream at all. I mean, of course, with the audio and all that, I'm not going to do that. But just to take a look. See? And that's what was wanted. So there they go. Man, where was I? Had something else.
Millions are expected to join an anti-ICE protest and the second national strike.
Wait, give me a second, and I can gather that other video that I wanted. Dang it, man. All right. But I hope everyone's doing good. Aside from I know all this is going on. I usually ask folks how y'all doing. Usually don't always get a response anyway, but I hope all is well. My computer going in overdrive, overtime. All right, give me a second. I gotta get off.
According to his attorney. It comes after Lemon covered the protest earlier this month, dozens of anti-ICE protesters rushing inside of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Now, Don has said that he was just there as a journalist, photographing the incident as a journalist, asking questions as a journalist after the protesters went in, and has been very clear he was not part of the protest group. In a statement, Don Lemon's attorney says, quote, "This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court." Now, I just want to quickly let you know, Don Lemon spoke with Allison Camerata, another former colleague and friend from CNN, who now works for Scripps News, about the church incident. Let's go to what she told us just moments ago.
So he said that he was covering a protest. This is the St. Paul church. The protesters had reason to believe that the pastor there was an ICE agent. And so Don, the way Don described it to me is that he was doing what we do. He was covering a protest. He wasn't conspiring with them. He knew that they were going to be protesting something. He wasn't in on their plans, he says, beforehand, which is one of the things that the DOJ has suggested. And then he stayed outside, he says. The protesters went inside the church. And when he realized that the protest was unfolding inside the church, he then went inside. And so, obviously our legal experts can describe whether that's trespassing on private property, but either way, that's a misdemeanor. And, the idea that Don Lemon as a journalist has now been arrested is just in an entirely different category.
Now, I have some more breaking news. We have just learned that another independent journalist who is very popular here and very well known here in Minneapolis and in Minnesota, Georgia Fort, has also been arrested. We have now seen video of her inside of her home telling us that there are FBI agents outside of her door demanding that she come out. She said that they had a warrant, that they had gone to a grand jury. So this is brand new breaking news. She is describing what is happening, saying that the federal agents say that they had a warrant, that there was a grand jury involved, and that she must come out to be arrested. She said that she spoke to her attorney. Her attorney advised her to go with them. And that is exactly what she did, and that she was taken to the Whipple building. So now there are two journalists who have been arrested by the FBI, by federal agents, after the incident that happened at a church. Joining me now are CNN's Kara Scannell and our chief media analyst, Brian Stelter. So, Kara, what are we learning about the situation with Don Lemon?
Well, Sarah, we do know that Don Lemon was arrested last night in Los Angeles in the 11 o'clock hour local time. I'm told by a source that he was in a hotel lobby on his way to an event related to covering the Grammy Awards, and that is when he was arrested by the agents and taken into custody. It is expected he will appear in court in Los Angeles this morning, and that the charges against him will be unsealed. Now, as we've been discussing, Lemon was part of a larger attempt by the Justice Department to bring charges against a number of people, some from the protesting group, last week, and that the judge had rejected that complaint against some of the individuals, including Don Lemon. He had suggested if DOJ wanted to go forward, they might want to look toward going before a grand jury. So that would follow the process that played out, where the judge did not believe that there was sufficient evidence, but if a grand jury did, then that would be the route that the Justice Department could take. It's possible that they have returned an indictment, though we have not yet seen the document. We have not seen any updates from the court about what this instrument is that Lemon was charged in, and specifically what he was charged with. We do know, though, that some of the protesters who were there, who were not journalists, but the protesters were charged with going into the church and disrupting this religious service, violating laws related to that. So it's possible that that will be the similar charge that Lemon will face. All this will become much more clear, though, once these documents are unsealed, and we do that, expect that to happen this morning, to then, as this will then continue to play out.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's funny too. I didn't even really think about everybody else that stormed the church. So most of them were charged, or at least the ones that they could get were charged. So when you think about it, why not charge Don Lemon as well? If you are a protester and you come bum rushing the church, you would be charged. But to say, oh, well, I wanted to do interviews, I'm here to just kind of spectate. I don't know how you feel about that. Do you feel that does make a difference? Because you're there as a spectator, you're there to show the world what's going on. Like, look, this is what's going on right now, versus, hey, I'm coming in here. We just coming up in here. Yeah. Where the pastor at? You know what I mean? So there is some difference there. But I think what they're doing too is how they're going to get Don Lemon is he traveled with them. Not that he had to be in the same vehicle. He was at a public protest away from the church. He said, yeah, I'm just doing interviews, blah, blah, blah. He said a group of women, some of the women there said, hey, why don't you come with us? It doesn't matter if it was an invite or not, but they said, we're going to the church. That's where we're going next. And he said, okay, I'll come there too. So he said he just followed along. He wasn't the orchestrator of any of the actual planning of the protests. So now we know too that others were charged, but also right here, it says, wait, where is it? 4 other people were arrested. Well, a total of 4 people were arrested. So it wasn't like it was just Don Lemon that they went after. They got some other ones too. Feds arrest 4, as you can see here. We should be able to see it. Trying to see. Yeah, can y'all see that? All right. Feds arrest 4, including Don Lemon and Minnesota journalists over church protests. Yeah. Wow. So what they did was they got him while he was at the Grammys. He thought he was going to be there doing interviews, and they yoked him up. That's what
Former
happened.
CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested. His attorney says Lemon faces charges stemming from his coverage as a journalist of an ICE protest earlier this month in Minnesota. Attorney General Pam Bondi has also confirmed the arrest of an independent journalist after the same incident, and Pam Bondi says this was done at her personal direction. NPR's David Folkenflik is covering this story. Hi there, David.
Good morning, Steve.
Let's start with Don Lemon. What do you know?
Well, we don't know a whole lot about this arrest. His lawyer, Abby Lowell, said it happened last night in Los Angeles, where Lemon is to cover the Grammys. I'll point out that Attorney General Pam Bondi said that it happened early this morning. Whatever the discrepancy, he was taken into custody by federal authorities in relationship to this. Let me read you a bit from the statement of Abby Lowell. That's Lemon's lawyer. Okay. He said, Don has been a journalist for 30 years. His constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he was always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. So that's what he's saying. He's saying this is part of his work as a journalist.
Okay, and he says he was just there covering a protest, as I have done over the years, as you have done over the years, plenty of people have done. So let's go to the facts. What is known about his role in Minneapolis?
So he filmed the lead up to and then the occurrence of a protest that involved people, anti-ICE protesters, this sort of immigration crackdown protesters going inside this church in Minneapolis. The reason for it was that a pastor there is said to be a top official in the local ICE field office. And the claim was that somehow that Lemon was participating in the disruption or the trespass, but we don't know precisely on what criminal charges he faces. Bonnie referred to some sort of conspiracy happening. What we do know is that the DOJ twice sought to get arrest warrants for Lemon in Minnesota, was turned down by a magistrate and then by the appeals court there. But, Bondi says, in confirming this arrest, she called him part of a coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, and promised more details soon.
I'm just thinking of one fact that listeners of this program would have heard this very morning, because we played a clip of Don Lemon's coverage on the air in a separate story this very morning. Lemon went to this protest. He covered the protesters. He broadcast the voices of the protesters. He seems also to have spoken to, heard from, and broadcast the voice of the pastor that they were protesting against. He was covering both sides. He was covering all sides of this thing. Is there evidence that this is somehow illegal for a journalist to show up at a protest and talk to everybody?
Well, let's acknowledge that two things are true at the same time. First, journalists don't have special protection for breaking the law. If Lemon clearly broke the law here, a federal law at that, then that evidence needs to be presented. However, what you're saying is exactly right. And it does appear as though he was there to cover it, even if he has a point of view of these sort of things. And he has been relentlessly critical of Trump, both at CNN and even more so, perhaps, since. But this does seem to be a focus of the Justice Department to pay attention to journalists who are amplifying, perhaps, voices that are critical of them.
So-called against the church. I know you've raised this. Their number one protester, Don Lemon, seems to have served Pam Bondi up a beautiful dessert on a silver platter here with the following comments, because he can't keep his stupid mouth shut. He decided to go talk all about his great feat on the Angry Leftist Ladies podcast and said a couple of things about these churchgoers. I'm going to play 31 and 32. Listen.
Jesus turned the tables over in the temple, right? He flipped the tables because he was tired of them, not doing what they're supposed to do in his Father's house and not living up to the tenets of Christianity. And so, it is surprising to me if it is true that this person somehow works for ICE. And also it is true that they're not understanding now of the protesters, is that they're doing the exact opposite of what Christianity is supposed to be about. I think that there is obviously there's racism in it. The whole point of it is that they're detaining people on the streets because of accents in the color of their skin, and they're also targeting people of color and Black people as well as brown people. So there is a certain degree of racism there, and there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are in the religious groups like that, it's not that.
All right, shut your ass up for a second. And it's not even about, he said, with people with accents. They don't have to hear you talk. They're looking in the data system and going directly to your job, your school, your address of illegals. They're not listening out. Let me see if I can catch an accent. Someone speaking with an accent. Are you kidding me? There's people in this country that don't even speak English. No English. You understand how much that doesn't make any sense? But we in America have to learn your language. I respect Hispanic culture. I value it. I like it a lot. I like the language, all that. I've learned a lot of language. Like it. Y'all don't understand. There's people like me. Well, I know personally, I've been watching the dismay of America for decades. When it comes to our broken communication, that's allowed. Jobs being swept away, and it's allowed. Other opportunity that is missed by many Americans, especially other oppressed groups like I come from. And you're going to tell me to still take a back seat and let the illegals come in and let illegal people do what they want to do. No, they need to do what's right like everyone else. And are they all criminals? Of course not. It's not about that. I couldn't care less. What I care about is that you come in the country like you're supposed to. We can't have a functioning of anything with so much dysfunction, people. It doesn't make any sense. And what he's saying makes no sense either. And he don't need to even be speaking on religion when he has no religion in him. Actually, you could speak on what you want. But he's such a damnation. Like, it doesn't even make
The type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from.
Wait a minute. Now, he just said he practices Christianity. How? When I listen to Pastor Geno Jennings, there is no such thing as Christianity. There's no word called Christians or Christianity ever been in the Bible. I'm going to be looking too, because I'm learning. But people misuse and come up with their own terminology, and then they twist the faith too. They're already trying to twist what the Bible says. So if you're going to use the good book, use it correctly, or you shall meet your demise. There's a lot of power in the tongue, people. I'm telling you, you can take it for granted and think like, oh, it's YouTube or it's online and it's not going to catch up with you. Everything we do in life catches up with us. So does what we speaketh with our tongue.
Color and black people as well as brown people. So there is a certain.
Stop acting like you care so much about black. All right, I'm gonna be quiet. I can't stand his ways. He's intelligent too. He's a smart man. I could say something nice, but that's it.
Degree of racism there, and there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy, and they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic.
Okay, Mike, thoughts?
Don Lemon is probably the dumbest person on television right now. He just admitted to his criminal intent under the Klan statute when he made it very clear that they were going into that church because they are Christians, A, and B, because they're white Christians. So you have religious bigotry and racial bigotry, which makes this fall squarely into the Klan statute. Don Lemon, he is. If I were a betting man, I would put everything on the line that Don Lemon will be indicted under the FACE Act and the Klan statute.
This is an interesting argument, though, about is there animus by the protesters, so-called, against the church? I know you've raised this. Their number one protester, Don Lemon, seems to have served Pam Bondi up a beautiful dessert on a silver platter.
She cracks me up. Oh man. All right, and then that was word from Megyn Kelly. She could be quite controversial too. I dig her though. Like I dig who I dig. I don't dig who I don't dig. You know what I mean? And I don't look for no one's co-signing on it. I'm my own person, and trust and believe I have reasons for who I dig and who I don't dig. You dig? I can dig it. You're gonna need a shovel in a minute. Donna, girl. Where you at, Donna? They got you in the room with the lights dim. A whole bunch of men. You loving it. You loving it. I hope people ain't in here feeling sorry for Donna. Donna is fine. Donna is living the dream. A dream of her own. You know what I'm saying? All this masculinity everywhere and all this crap. Or whatever it is that he likes. Your pheromones that you give off in the air. Because by the way, men do give off pheromones. Women don't. But men give off pheromones, and we use that, and it does something in your life. It's interesting. I love science. What was my point? Donna is somewhere. Donna's safe. Donna's probably being questioned, and Donna can't wait to come bust through the door and come back on YouTube and whatever other platforms Donna be using, girl, and talk about, want to be babied and all that crap. Probably it's on and popping. So. You got it, my girl. You got it. You got what you wanted. You got a lot of attention. You got what's talking. I was going in on you months ago because you're messy and I knew you were going to do this. Not this, but I knew you were going to be messy as heck. But at the same time, Donna is only doing what is being taught online. You know what I'm saying? We're being taught that any moment is a moment to seize. As long as people are talking about you, you're relevant. And it doesn't matter how much of the cost is going to be. Don't worry about it. Just be concerned with other things. So I believe what we're going to see is the real, how people really feel. We're going to start seeing more things and people being exposed. And we're going to have to take it for what it is. People are showing you themselves. Take them for it. Take them for it. Like, why not? I believe them. Now I want to switch over to Don Lemon himself here. It would be nice to get rid of the subtitle though. Time it helps, but I don't why is that on? Okay, caption. I'm gonna turn it off. Donna girl. Can I make it bigger? Where's the full screen went?
Personal feelings about it. I am a Christian. I am torn about it as a Christian and a journalist, but it's not for me to judge whether the venue's right. It's for me to just report the story, and then we can talk about whether the venue, right venue or wrong venue, but it's up to me to chronicle what is happening in the moment.
Do you think you did anything wrong?
No, I don't, because I waited to go in. I told the folks, don't go on the property.
Wait, he said he told them don't go on the property? I didn't catch that part before. They're going to use this against him. He said he told them don't go in there. If you told them don't go in and they went in anyway, why did you follow him? Donna girl. Donna girl. All right, I see you on the chat. Please watch the F-bombs, y'all. I appreciate you time to stand for your subscription. I just try to keep it a level, chat where there's not, like vulgarity, but y'all feel free to express yourselves. I get it. But yeah, he is someone you said, isn't he with the white dude? Yes. And that I brought that up probably like a whole year or two ago. They're just now bringing that up because people are kind of getting annoyed with Donna Lemon. So they have brought that up like, hey, you keep talking about black people, this, black people, that. You lay down with a white man every night. And there's people that are in interracial relationships and they're like, what's the big deal? So what? I mean, there is a difference because it shows your interests. You want to spend the rest of your life with is a reflection of you. You know what I mean? I have my views on interracial relationships. They don't work. And there's a reason. We are very different. We have a lot of commonalities, but there's a different frequency that every race is on. And you got to tune yours down or up when you conjoin with one, whether it's an intimate relations, just kind of open relationship or a marriage. It's the same thing. We underrate intimacy. We underrate our sexuality when it has such a major effect in our lives. Who you share your life with is a reflection of you. Absolutely. So I do feel like, he goes off about black rights a lot. And it's just like, if you don't mean it, man, like just don't even speak on it. There's people like me, grassroots. We don't play. We wake up, go to sleep. And while we're sleeping, we got our people on our mind. You understand? We got strategies to get rid of oppression on our mind. We don't stop. We don't stop when we're offline. It doesn't stop. It's us. It's in us. And we're the ones that a lot of times you guys just don't see. It is what it is, as long as we're making progress, right? All right, I'll finish letting him or her, whatever, speak on herself. But yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I think Tim is tired of Donna. When they be in the live stream, like I seen a live stream where Tim was smiling a little bit, but it seemed like it was real quick because he was like, Tim, and he keeps bugging him. Tim don't want to be in the spotlight with you, bruh. So stop trying to drag that man into it. Let him be over there playing with the dog somewhere, minding his business, getting fur all over the kitchen. Stop trying to make a relationship what it's not. And I think that's what Donna is doing. Tim is tired of Donna's ass. And it's probably figuratively, literally. Okay.
I'm going to go check it out until there's.
And what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. I don't have hatred towards anyone or any group. I don't. But we got to speak the facts. All right. And we have imposters out here that are going to play with God's word more and more. And possibly atheism too, because on the other end of the spectrum is people that don't believe in anything, you know, like any higher power. They're going to be coming for y'all too. You know, I think people feel like, oh, I got it easy. I don't have a faith. I don't have a, you know, sometimes when times is hard, that's when everybody want to get to praying. That's when everybody want to have faith then and there. You better exercise that faith now. If you have any little bit of faith in you, you better exercise it now, people, because you're going to need it. They are coming in impeding on your peace, pretending to be peaceful, pretending to be about the people. They are not. They are a disruptive group. I don't know what happened to democracy. I don't know what happened to Democrats. They're different than they were before. I don't let people fool me. I don't care what color your skin is. I got to know what's on the inside. I'm telling you, I won't let nobody gut me. You'll get gutted before you ever come close to gutting me or tricking me, having me slip up, thinking that you're something that you're not. I'm not doing that.
I am a Christian. I am torn about it as a Christian and a journalist, but it's not for me to judge whether the venue's right. It's for me to just report the story, and then we can talk about whether the venue, right venue or wrong venue, but it's up to me to chronicle what is happening in the moment.
Do you think you did anything wrong?
No, I don't, because I waited to go in. I told the folks, don't go on the property. I'm going to go check it out until there's, if there is a disturbance, then we can go in, because they've already created a situation, I believe, that makes it reportable. And
what does that mean if there's a disturbance? If the protesters?
If the protesters did that. So I said that to my crew. And so I went in just to see, and it started. And then other members of the press started coming in. And then when other members of the press started coming in, I looked over, and my guy, I guess that was a cue for him, and he came in, but I said, okay, I'll just start talking and saying, here's what's happening. But I was very strategic, and because I never got in the scrum. I got in once after I started interviewing everyone, and I let it play out, to go over to ask after, I think it was after I had spoken to the pastor and some of the churchgoers or parishioners. I went over to her and said, what do you think about what you're doing? And they're saying this, that you shouldn't be here, and blah, blah, blah. And I got her reaction, and then I stepped back away and I just let it play out. I was not chanting or cheering on. If people didn't want to talk to me, I moved on.
All right. No, I'm trying to kind of confuse, what is it, time to stand? Because you asked a question. You said, isn't Don effing a white dude? And I said, yeah. So I showed a picture where they married. And you said, you're married to a Navajo. So you're married to an Indian woman, right? And you're a white man. I never said interracial relationships can't work. If there's true love, it's going to work. My point is, stats show that the least relationships that end up being successful are interracial relationships. I don't have to make it up. The stats show it. You don't see too many interracial relationships. Think about it. All you gotta do is think about it. You barely see interracial relationships. We've been unsegregated for how many decades? So it has nothing to do with segregation. It has to do with the connection with someone. And to be honest, I'm going to wrap it up soon, but in all honesty, we get with who we have commonality with. If you have nothing in common with that Navajo woman you're with, I would ask, how did y'all get married? You got to have something in common with each other. You got to have that chemistry. It can't be forced. It can't be brought. It can't be faked. So unless you have a true chemistry with your Navajo wife, then that's why it's working. You know what I'm saying? But that is unique, a white man and an Indian woman. A lot of times Indians, you don't really see them interracially date. You usually see black and white people. You hardly see Indians, and you barely see Asians. You usually see Asian women. You don't see as many Asian men dating outside their race. And that just, it is what it is. Before I go, I could try to pull up the stats for y'all real quick too. Hold on. I'll look into all of this. I don't come on here just talking. Actually, we could do that on another time, but I will pull it up. Now, they think that all I want is videos. I'm in the wrong section. All right, hang on.
arrested last night in Los Angeles. This other journalist was arrested this morning, if there are other arrests related to this, because not everyone was charged in that initial complaint that the Justice Department was trying to charge. They could be playing out this morning, so it may be an instance where we do see additional arrests, and then we do eventually see this charging document and understand what charges they are specifically facing. As you said, Lemon's lawyer, Abby Lowell, says that he will fight this vigorously, and that, you know, it is not unprecedented for journalists to be charged, but it is also very unusual for journalists to be charged because of their First Amendment right to cover events and certain protections that journalists have to participate in capturing news. So there is definitely going to be a big fight here to come on behalf of Don Lemon and most likely this other journalist as they fight back on these charges, which, you know, his lawyer is saying is unprecedented attack on the First Amendment. And as we have seen, the president and his attorney general have gone after people that Trump does see as his perceived enemies. Don Lemon is particularly one of those. Sarah?
Yeah. Kara Scannell, thank you for your reporting and getting us caught up to speed. We are expecting to see any time now this morning or perhaps into the afternoon the charges, because this has to go through court and it has to be made public. Brian Stelter, now that you are learning that there are two journalists who have been taken into custody, one of whom we know well, our colleague and friend Don Lemon, the other who is very
All right. Yeah, as far as me, yeah, other races are attractive. I've been attracted to other races. And I can comment on how somebody looks too, like, oh, you know, that white guy, you know, or whatever, like he looks good. He look, you know, but there's a difference between having a relationship, you know, like seeing yourself maybe having a family, bringing kids in and all that. And I'm not with the biracial kid stuff and all that. Like if you have them, you have them, but you have to be you have a responsibility of teaching them who they are. And that comes from both parents. I don't just say, just go with the black side, just go with the white side. They have to know who they are. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just different. It's like a feel, and I'm not on that frequency. I'm just not. And I think different than I did when I was younger. I knew that, you know, there's a difference where, you know, we're racially different and whatever other differences we have. But as I've grown into myself and being of an African woman, I know that I don't have that desire at all. And it's for a reason. I don't have to force anything. I know that my common person is like me. You know what I'm saying? Like I will be crowned as a queen by my African king. And that's just how it goes. That's all to it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. Yes, we could find each other attractive, but that doesn't mean we should be having sex. That doesn't mean, oh, well, maybe we could get married one day, you know, hey, it is what it is. Like that's just not in us. And I say us because there's many people that are righteous, that are, if you don't get it, it's kind of hard to kind of explain. It's simple, but you just got to be there to understand it. You know what I mean? There's no question about it. It's not a question for me. But more power to your relationships. I got almost 30 years in. I like seeing relationships work. I like it because we don't see enough of it. We just don't. And as a woman, us women out here are lacking love, regardless of the race. There's something sinister that's been going on amongst humans, and we're dogging each other out. We have domestic violence higher than it's ever been before. And it's just what it is. I will still share this, even though it's kind of contradicting what I just said. And it's kind of annoying that, but let me show this because I'm an honest person. So I'm going to honestly show what I did find on here. Hello, peace to y'all. Just came in. This is the United States Census data. Why are they doing it? Where is it? All right. Well, this is from way back from 2018. I thought it was newer than this. But they're saying, too, that it has increased married couples that are interracial, or they call it interethnic, grew in the United States from 7.4 to 10%. And that's from 2012 to 2016. Over here, too, they say that If anything, we are kind of seeing some more interracial relationships, but we're not seeing a whole lot, you guys. I don't think people are just so gung-ho to like kind of step outside their own race, and that's a fact. It's also a scientific fact that you're drawn to your own. We date off of familiarity. We will date someone that looks like a family member because it's familiar, not being weird and incestful, but there's a biologicalness in our brains that we are geared just towards what's familiar. If you go into a room full of people, you are more likely to sit near the people that you relate to the most. And it's usually off of visual first. This has all been proven. There's no difference in dating. So it shows here overall interracial relations, roles, marriage, white, black marriages, and all that. Now, some of these have gone up, but it's very little. You know what I'm saying? They said 3%. No, you're probably talking about marriage certificates. We're talking about actual marriages. So it went up some, but the downside to it, the point I was trying to make too, is that they don't last. There's a lot of divorces, and the studies were showing that the highest split level comes from interracial marriage. The highest level of split once they break up. Also in the LGBTQ community, the women don't last. Lesbian relationships and marriages tend to be the most failed also. You do see more male gay marriage and relationships work more than the lesbian side. I have the stats on it all. I'm just still trying to figure out why lesbians have so much domestic violence with them. It seems like a reverse because usually men are more physical. You men express yourselves through body language. Women, we need you to talk. We want to talk your head off, and you better give us some information or we think you ain't interested. This is Dr. Lamar approved. It's facts. I believe in love. If y'all love each other, I salute it. I like seeing it. And I feel that people that are in healthy, real relationships really should come on out and talk to us about it too and give tips to people because everyone could use it. I'm being honest. Everybody needs somebody sometimes. And for some reason, we just haven't gotten it right. We've been kind of going backwards when it comes to relationships, and I can take race out of it. Just relationships in general. You have to have that chemistry. You have to have it. You either have a good relationship or you don't. All right. So that's that. And some things are different for guys because guys, when y'all look at everything, you guys look very lustfully a lot of times. So you're just looking at body, it's sometimes men, y'all have a different perspective too. So I think men, because y'all are the hunters and y'all come for the female, you are to try to get different females. And sometimes it could be from different race groups. So, it's a little different with that versus a woman, because I don't feel women should be approaching a man. You will hope a man wants you. And if he wants you, he going to come to you. He going to come. Literally and figuratively. All right. All right. Well, thanks for coming through. Appreciate those that did and that did participate with me. Donna Lemon has been arrested. And we have a whole national strike. So people telling people don't go to work, don't open your stores, don't do this, don't do that. We got that going on. There was one other thing though that I did want to been on. Yeah. Oh, I got a little headache. Chicago, they already protesting. Businesses are participating nationwide. We'll get to that. And then I just want to find, I have to show some news updates.
Participating, and what they have done is they have closed their doors and they have posted signage saying that they are participating in this large-scale protest against the immigration crackdown that we have seen across the country. Demonstrators across the country are calling for a national shutdown that includes no shopping, no school, and no work today. This comes after outrage from immigration enforcement nationwide and shootings involving federal agents, including the killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good in Minneapolis. Last September, 38-year-old Silverio Villegas Gonzalez was also shot and killed by federal agents in Franklin Park.
I think what's happening across the country, especially in Minneapolis, has been really sad. Devastating for folks here in Chicago, of course, too. I think it's accountability, right? Like, we have a set of systems of checks and balances of different branches of legislature that hold each other accountable for what's happening, and I think this current administration federally is not following those rules.
This morning, demonstrators gathered in Roscoe Village and took part of this nationwide protest. They held signs while cars honked their horns. Over in Avondale, The Brood, a coffee shop, and Bric-a-Brac Records, a record store, closed today and joined the nationwide strike. They posted signage on their doors alerting customers of why they chose to close down today. And some local small businesses in the area say that they are standing in solidarity with those who are striking today, but they cannot close their doors because their employees have to be paid. So instead of closing, what they're doing is donating to organizations that support immigrant communities.
Yeah, they need the money. They being honest. Like, you can't just close. That's why I said this is going to have a more of a negative effect on the business itself than anything else. You know, you want to have a means to what you're doing, or otherwise you're just not going to be making no sense. It's just dumb. There was a guy, he was a young, I think he was a young man, but he still was, I think, in his late teens. He got caught. I know I'm just kind of switching up. He was caught under the bed of a 12-year-old, and they got footage of that. And then there was something else that I wanted to add in. Maybe I should do that footage. I may come on tomorrow. There was something else. I have interesting news updates. I'll do a recap tomorrow. So if y'all interested, I'll see y'all back here tomorrow. I mainly wanted to do my music mix on the weekend, but we'll just see. Oh, okay. No shutdown for Sandra Bland and Trayvon Martin. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we got going on. And they talked about it about a week ago, but I knew about the protests, but I guess the whole strike thing, I missed that. I didn't really know that that's what they were doing. I didn't realize that. See, I usually have my little music in the background to do that sometimes. Well, let's say bye. They said they keeping him. He getting locked up. No, I'm playing. They probably just gonna talk to him, talk his little light skinned lips off, and he gonna be talking. That's gonna be that. I want to wait. Let me pull this other thing. He was doing this hand gesture, and I'm like, you do not need to be doing that. You do not need to be doing that. All right. Well, at some point, I guess they'll be back into each other's arms. They'll be back. His stomach looked. Never mind. I ain't even gonna go there about that man belly. What is going on? Ay, Dios mío. All right, so that's it. Donna Lemon fed arrest. He's so messy and sassy. And also, what we have going on for the weekend is the anti-ICE national strike movement. I am Kai Y7, sister from New York. Girl, and you lucky if you with me. I'm gonna make sure you have luck. All right, thanks for coming through. Let's just toughen up some of the feelings and just go off of the facts, because that's what I do here. And if you are already on that level or plan to be, you'll be just fine with me, because you're only going to raise an elevation. All right. All right. Thanks. Hope to see y'all next time. Y'all take care. Be safe. Peace. Since I got an RBR person up in here, let me do my other RBR closeout. All right, peace.
Damn, what was that?
Also, for anyone that's new, there were some new people in here too. I appreciate that you came through my channel. Please consider to subscribe, hit like sometimes, it does help. And it's an open chat room. Feel free to chat live, or if you catch the live stream, it's appreciated. I mostly have a main focus on my channel that has to do with the community, the intermelanated communities. Also, astros, which consists of astronomy and astrology, and spirituality or energy. You don't have to have a religion to be able to have a conversation. It's about us. It's about us internally. And the other piece is intimacy, things to do with relationships of different kinds, but our intimate relations, because I feel they're so underrated. They are a huge part of our lives. So if we tap in and tune in and watch who we sharing our bodies with and other things like that, it's going to make a huge difference in your life. And sometimes you got to take time out. You could do like I've done, go celibate. You will see changes in your life that you need to feel. I'm not even going to tell you. You just got to try for yourself. You will be enlightened and you will be elevated to levels you've never known. Be good to yourself and have some left to be good to someone else too. I'm Kyan Y7. Hope to see you back. Peace.
Black Panther. I see you. I said, are you sure, motherfucker? Repeat that. Are you sure, motherfucker?
That's you, motherfucker. Find your tongue.
You talk to me.
I'll slap you, you idiot.
Get out of here. Get out of here. You bang your bloody god.
Yeah. If you want to go, then you go to hill and go down.
Why you get fired,
yes,
man?
why? Are you crazy?
You're fucking paranoid, man.
You are fucking.
You fucking, you bloody.
You bloody.
You bloody. Bastard, bitch. Fuck you. Bloody fuck you, bloody. Fucking mother, bloody fuck, bitch.
Bitch, you
bloody fuck you fucking bloody bastard. Benchwood, bloody.
Benchwood, you
bloody. Hey, what are you saying this? Don't talk to me like this.
Did you abuse
don't,
me, you fat?
Hey,
Did
don't
you abuse me,
fuck
you
with me.
Did you abuse
Hey,
me, you fat?
hey, you
Get your
bang
big ass out of here. Get out.
your bloody god.
Get out of here.
Bloody god.
Get out of here.
Oh.
Get out of here.
Oh.
Did you abuse me?
Don't abuse me.
I'll have to...
Kiss my Black Panther. I see you, devil. I see you, devil. Ain't nobody scared of you. More than welcome, man of God. Man of God. Man of God. Here, let me tell you this. The Bible say, lay hands on no man. You more than welcome. Man of God. Lay hands on no man's son. Satan, the Lord rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Every demon, I say you devil. I say you devil. I say you devil. Ain't nobody scared of you devil. I know I may have done some things that I shouldn't have done in the last year. But I want to tell you right now, kiss my black pants. Oh, kiss it. Oh, kiss it. Oh, kiss it. Kiss my black pants. Can you look at somebody?